to get started here today, we're going to talk with Ben a little bit about what the Scatter Brothers do, who they are, and kind of what they're all about. So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me and for your support. To toot your horn a little bit, is you guys, this commission has really been so proactive in helping us get a production company off the ground here in St. Pete. So thank you so much for having me. And
that's our job.
Thank you for the support you've given us.
Absolutely.
But Scatter Brothers, we are a full-service video production company. We handle everything from development through pre-production, physical production, and post-production. We all started in editing, so I think editing was how we started first paying the bills, if you will. And we kind of joined forces. A bunch of our college buddies reunited after college and said, guys, can we make a brand instead of just being, a freelance, team or individuals? Can we pull it together and build a brand, a company that we could all belong to and have support with and through? And so that is what Scatter Brothers is. And as funny as the name might be, we really have been trying to groom the image, grow up, as you will, and create, like I said, a brand of filmmakers rather than just one guy, a freelancer,
So Scatter Brothers, it's interesting. A lot of the local production companies, in order to make a living, you got to do commercial work, and you've got to do, corporate videos and digital video content, that kind of stuff. But what really everybody wants to do is, feature films, short films, narrative, entertaining concepts, documentaries. Are you guys working on anything like that right now as well?
Yes, and I think you're absolutely right. That is our passion. We all want to work on the narrative stuff, and we try, as many of the corporate, commercial, industrial films that you talk about, the bread and butter, if you will, we try to write some level of creativity into each of those projects as much as we can. But really, doing those has kind of laid a foundation for us to be able to start thinking ahead about bigger projects. For us, we wanted to start small with a few short films, and we did. We've made 3 to date. They've all made it into various film festivals around the U.S. In fact, one recently made it into the Gasparilla Film Festival right here. And
nice.
It's a pilot now that we've kind of morphed from a short into a pilot that really could serve for an episodic. We think it's probably going to be web-based at first. It's called Daryl and His Friends. And we're slowly integrating that into, I think, the culture of this local culture at least. And then there's also a documentary that we're working on. It's a feature length covering the historical transformation of this very historical building in downtown St. Petersburg. It's a project that's based on the YMCA, and essentially it's a long flip show, if you will, to watch the progress.
And the YMCA meaning the 1920s building that's in downtown St. Pete.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's a relic. 1926, one of the last buildings built before the Great Depression. It had so many signature items of classic architecture that unfortunately you just don't see anymore. So the person who's acquired this has really got a gold mine that he's sitting on, and now it's just navigating all the hurdles of the local municipalities and the red tape to make this thing.
Trying to refurbish it,
exactly.
and then when making a documentary about sort of the trials and tribulations of putting that whole thing together.
When we first heard about the concept, we were thinking to ourselves, is this going to be drama? Do we really have something that will captivate an audience? And then all of a sudden, HGTV starts producing all these, flip shows, and it's just love it or leave it. What is that, flop or drop? I don't know, so many shows. But it really is a compelling, I think, area that people can watch and be entertained.
Yeah, and something a little different from those typical shows where it's, somebody buys a house and flips it. This is literally a 1920s built YMCA that now is turning into a hotel, essentially. So that'll be very cool to see how that all
we're looking probably about another 12 months on that, Tony. Reality at the very, very least.
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure.
A big flip.
It's a long project.
But I'm excited. It definitely seems to ring job security a little bit for us, but it's a great story to try.
Well, and you guys were just out in Los Angeles, too.
Yeah.
So you had some meetings and stuff out there. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing out there and kind of stuff you got underwork in a way?
Yes, thank you for asking. Here, obviously, was we needed a little bit of an experience, a reel, to be able to, I think, be taken seriously in some LA markets and circles. We look at LA as kind of a great resource and a place where there's so much business being done and there's so many deals that are being signed. Whether it's a big studio or it could be an independent studio, we think that there's a lot of deals done out there. And so that was kind of our lens going out there. We wanted to come out to LA and make it a habit over the past 5 years regularly, reintroducing our face, constantly making ourselves available. And finally, this last trip, really, we broke in, and we were able to set up a little lease situation right near Universal, the back lot. We've got essentially a little suite bungalow out there, which
Nice.
will be our second location in a sense, a place where we can call a second home and really push, I think, into the pipeline with some of our contacts out there, some of these things like Daryl and his friends, or some of the even long-term, documentaries and some of the bigger
Yeah.
projects we want to tackle. So that's
good. So you're
hopefully.
bi-coastal now.
Yeah, we're
technically.
bi-coastal.
Yeah.
We haven't really officially made that a priority to
Yeah.
announce that just yet, but it's a good time to talk about it. We are serious about it. I think we can take what our earnings, our earnings in St. Petersburg are, and not only double them out in LA, but also
Sure.
incorporate a whole new level of a market strategy.
Well, and so if if I'm a business here in Florida or if I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm interested in working with you guys for something, whether it's developing a web series or a documentary or commercial projects or digital content for my website or whatever, kind of what's your philosophy and strategy, and you work with all different budget types, right? From the little small business to the larger corporate clients.
You're right, right. A lot of our philosophy and our paradigm, if you will, going into each new client is you kind of almost think of it like we're building contractors in a sense. The budget will obviously allow you to build a multi-million-dollar mansion, or we could make what we can out of these small, tiny little budgets. For us, we want to keep in mind, not only that we think of ourselves as, in a sense, of experienced contractors, but we also feel that we want to incorporate this art of cinema into whatever we put our hands on. So if you're a small business owner who doesn't have a large budget for production, but you want to be able to put the best foot forward out there, have a YouTube video where you can send to your colleagues or clients or potential new clients that really looks good, we can do that. There's so many tools that are available to the modern cinematographer, a filmmaker. There's so many different tools that you could use that I think you just have to have experience with. You have to have the right team. And you can really piece together something that looks much more valuable than what you may have shot it for.
Yeah.
So we want to reassure, I think, people that it's available to everybody, And I think if you have the right team, like Scatter Brothers, we could take a budget and make it look as valuable as we possibly can.
Good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Well, good. Well, stick around for a little bit because we're going to talk a little bit more about the Sundance Film Festival that I just got back from and a few other things. So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony.
Great.
Great to see you. Great to finally meet you.